The United States have sent us a letter with measures that would come into effect unless there is a negotiated solution. So we will therefore also extend the suspension of our countermeasures till early August. And at the same time, we will continue to prepare further countermeasures so we are fully prepared. Very important in this is always the second and the third element. The second element is to diversify our trade relationships. So this big and important political agreement on a free trade agreement with Indonesia is today a huge milestone forward and shows that we are looking for new open market. So we have, as you know, a two-track approach. It's very important. We have always been very clear that we prefer a negotiated solution. This remains the case, and we will use the time that we have now till the 1st of August. And on the second track, since the very beginning, we have worked and now are ready to respond with countermeasures. We've prepared for this, and we can respond with countermeasures if necessary. So this two-track approach pays off because we are prepared. On your question, as you know, we have prepared and agreed on a first list of countermeasures. We have developed a second potential list of countermeasures that is by now agreed to. And the ACI is created for extraordinary situations. We are not there yet. This is very important. This is now the time for negotiations, but this also shows we are prepared for all eventual scenarios.
Well, we saw that last week when we had the first letter day that markets hardly reacted at all. But I think now with the 30% threat for the European Union and the 30% threat for Mexico, markets will react with volatility, probably with some correction, and again, new uncertainty. It looks indeed as if financial markets have grown numb on what comes out of the Oval Office. Yes, it all looks like strategic uncertainty, but how much uncertainty can you take? So financial markets seem to choose and to opt currently for the idea that in the end there will be a deal. They are opting for this idea that it will not escalate any further, and they have also grown numb. So I think this is what happens if you escalate too often. At a certain point, people stop listening. I hope that the European Union has a strategy that is not depending on letters out of the White House or on any posts on Truth Social, but that the European Union, the European Commission actually have a longer-term negotiation strategy here. And this strategy should be that they are willing to lower some of the non-tariff hurdles for U.S. exports coming to the European Union. And at the same time, I think that the European Union will also offer to purchase more goods from the U.S., but without completely giving up and really without becoming a minority or a inferior position in these negotiations. Because I think the European Union should make very clear that it is also having a huge single market, that it's negotiating from a position of strength, but also from a position of a willingness to find a deal that suits both sides. I wouldn't even know whether the August 1st deadline is really an extremely hard deadline or whether it's not also a flexible deadline, because in the end, no one wins trade wars. They only know losers. But if the European Union was to retaliate after August 1st, I think they would first come with tariffs on US goods. They would probably come up with a very gradual implementation of retaliation measures. I don't think that the European Union would really go all in terms of imposing tariffs on US services, because the European Union knows that, yes, it is in a position of strength, but at the same time, the European economy is still in a very fragile state, and that starting a trade war right now would clearly dent this very tentative recovery we're currently experiencing in Europe. Yeah, I think the European Union has a couple of options here. We know from the last time when Donald Trump was in office, and we also had these trade negotiations, that the European Union offered to purchase soybeans and LNG from the US. This could still happen this time around. On top of that, we know that the European Union is increasing its defense spending. So why not offering to purchase more military equipment from the US? I think that could already be something that would help these negotiations. And then the ultimate option would be to impose tariffs on digital services coming out of the US. But Europe knows if they were to start this ultimate policy tool, then they're really in the midst of a fully fledged trade war, something I don't think that the European Union is willing to engage in.